Yeah, no, we didn't do it last season. So, let's have a look at season before. Ah, right, yeah. Yeah, season 3, round 8, Britain. Kachai won that one.
Got everyone in. I've got a full grid. Nice. Right. So, hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to the NRL Championship. We're here for round number 9 after a bit of a break week last week, missing Australia, unfortunately. We're now in the United Kingdom and for the British Grand Prix around the Silverstone circuit, a both historic and incredible track when it comes to action. And, well, one we haven't seen in quite a while. The last time we were here was back in Season 3, and it was Kachau, our reigning champion, who's had a bit of a tough time. Now sits 12th in the standings, took the win 2 seasons ago. But I am Zach Sweeney, and I'm joined today by Mr. Wu. Well, it's my first time with a co-commentator, well, actually, for this season. Of course, I had Vert last season, but, yeah, I'm certainly looking forward to it. What do you think of the race, Wu?
Well, thank you for having me. Yeah, it's Kachau was our winner last time out, but yeah, he's not having the season of his dreams so far as the reigning champion. So I think there'll be quite a few drivers on the grid today looking to take advantage of that. I would expect a lot of aggressive driving.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we've got a lot of drivers really going for it. I mean, Stein has been on form this entire season. At the moment, leads the championship despite not actually showing up to every single race. Just goes to show the form he is on. 18 minutes then on the clock for a short qualifying session. 20 people on the grid. Certainly a lot of drivers, and you definitely do. You want to get a bank of time in, because if you mess up quali, there's more people on the grid. You're going to be starting further back, and there's just going to be more cars to get through. And the more overtakes you do, the higher the risk there is of you having to go around. But what do you think people are going to go on for qualifying? Of course, we've seen Silverstone, in terms of the Formula 1 game, quite an easy soft to medium strategy, but do you reckon we'll see some people maybe chance it on the mediums?
Yeah, I think some of the quicker guys, or at least those who are running high confidence, will put themselves on the medium tyres at the start. But yeah, I would expect quite a lot of people to try that strategy. It is a fairly straightforward medium soft, and it is looking dry in quali and the race. So I would certainly be putting some mediums in to start with if I was driving.
For sure. Well, we've got CRL Indian Jesus, the Alfa Romeo driver who made his debut last time out in Portimao, and what a race that was if you cast your minds back 2 weeks when Callie Robb and Vengeance had their little bit of a tussle in towards the penultimate corner on the final lap of the race. Desperation definitely getting the best of us sometimes, but it's a fresh slate. We're here for Silverstone. Callie Robb, in fact, isn't actually joining us tonight, to the best of my knowledge. In fact, neither is Vengeance. No, he is. He's in the Mercedes. He's just still in the pit lane. Vert as well. The two Alpha Tauris looking to impress. Stein wants to extend his championship lead, but the Alfa Romeo of Indian Jesus will be the first to set his lap. He's on the medium tyre. Do you think this is a strategical choice, or do you think he's saving those soft compound tyres, getting himself acclimatised to the circuit before then wasting a set of softs and trying to go quick?
Potentially, it depends. You can look at running a softer set of tyre compounds for this race if you are going to do a soft medium. But yeah, perhaps it's just one of those, get the mediums on, do a lap, see how the other drivers are comparing, and then you know early if you need to go onto the softs or not. Well done Cali Rob actually. Yeah, he's not with us tonight because he's actually at the real life US Grand Prix in Texas. Yeah, I'm having a good time of it by the looks of things.
Definitely. Very good. Well, this is Indian Jesus about to start his first lap on the medium compound tyre. Talk us through it, Whoop.
Well, let me let me get him first of all on my screen. Where is he at? Okay. Oh, yeah. Just getting through here. Nice and slow here. You don't want to go on the power too early. Bring yourself nice and wide like he's done. Yeah, down into second, upshift to third. Can be a bit squirrely on the exit there, so he's got that nice. Taking quite a short line through the next part of that track. And a few cars ahead, he's going to have to work his way through. Down into fourth. Yeah, you can take a bit more of that curb if you're feeling brave. And almost two lines there he's taking for the second part. On the power early, he's not running too wide. Keeping it well within the limits and not pushing too hard. Is Van Rocco. Good to see him back, gets out of the way. Takes it flat almost, I think, through there in gear 8. And we're coming up to the fast section of the track now. It's left and then right. Down a gear here. Other cars moving out of the way. Down to 6th. 5th again. Looks pretty smooth through there. I think he'll be looking to run it a bit wider on future attempts. He's certainly got more of a track to exploit. Fast right-hander here. Down to 5th gear. Lower corner. And then this bit is really about just hooking up the corners like a chain. That was nice through there. Good right-hander. Don't get too keen on the power here. Yep. Nice and controlled lap there from Indian Jesus. 127.4.
Not a bad effort at all. I mean, of course, we're probably going to expect people to be well within the 26s. But on the medium tyres, this first lap, of course, the track yet to be properly rubbered in. And that is definitely not a half bad effort. This is Stein on his lap in the AlphaTauri. Don't forget Stein, the man on form, leading the championship, the Drivers' Championship in the AlphaTauri. Look back to last season, Season 4, had blemishes of pace. Couldn't quite convert when it counted though, and he's going purple to the first sector. No surprises there, I'm sure. He's on the soft tyre, and of course it's Stein. He is a master when it comes to qualifying, and he's not too shabby when it comes to the race.
No, yeah, Stein I think will be one of those we're considering taking pole position here. Actually, I hit the blocks. He's going to go for that pole.
Yeah, oh, ERT Henry going quickest by around about 5 tenths on the medium tyre as well. You cast your minds back to Portimao. Henry was a man incredibly quick. It was either pole or second place. I can't quite remember exactly. But on those medium tyres, set some good qualifying pace. A shame for Henry that it couldn't quite be a fairy tale front row start to a win. He had some issues. But Stein, along with other people, coming through the Vale chicane and now through the preferably flat out corner of Club. A very short run to the line, across the line, and it is a 26.887, though on the soft tyre, only, well, not even about half a tenth quicker than ERT Henry, when he should be around about 4-5 tenths quicker as Kachal as well. 27.1, a man looking to try and gain his form back. So for Stein and Kachal, decent laps, but is that either them not having a good lap or Henry just having an incredible one?
Could be a bit of both. We know Henry's extremely quick in qualifying, and yeah, actually, time that quick, you'd expect maybe it'd be good enough for pole. So whether he feels that was a solid lap or not, I don't know if he was going again or whether he'll put on a set of softs and maybe take pole from them.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely has the pace too, and himself and his teammate Jerdy definitely have had a run of form, and of course they've now got this special white Red Bull livery, a bit of a homage to Honda and their service to the team since they're joining in 2019. Just to say thank you, and it's now in the Formula 1 game, which is very, very nice to see. This is three-time champion Honesy in the Ferrari, a driver who hasn't quite had the consistency this season to properly mount a challenge, but of course he's a three-time champion for a reason. He narrowly missed out on the title last season despite missing a good 2 or 3 races, which is 75 points out of his hands. I should say more, 78 points if you count the fast lap points as well. But yeah, he's on the medium tyre, 27.4. It's incredibly close, so that's what we've come to expect with NRL. That Honesy, yeah, 3-time champion. I mean, I've never actually seen him around Silverstone, but I'm sure it seems like a circuit that suits his driving style. Qualifying never really going his way, but it's always the race. He uses his experience, and he just comes through the field as if it's like a hot knife through butter.
Yeah, he has a good experience of that. Haas ahead of him running off, but yeah, Holmesy, he finished 4th here the last time he raced, so didn't taste the champagne. I'm sure he's desperate to make amends for that today.
Yeah, he's going to want to. Always do like to even a virtual podium, you always want to reach for a milestone, whether that's it's different for every person. You know, a top 10 might be a success for some of the people slower down, well, further down the grid. A top 5 for some, and then of course a top 3 for those really trying to compete. But the all-important milestone is going to be that top step of the podium, the one everyone is going to be chasing. And so far, it's Stein that's putting himself in the best position to do so. ERT Henry in the pit lane, and it's coming up on our graphic that he's strapped on the soft compounder tyre. Vengeance in the Mercedes, probably the robbed race winner of last race in Portimao. He definitely was looking good. He defended on 27 lap old hard tyres against people on very, very fresh tyres towards the end. He somehow made that car twice as wide as it should be. This Formula 1 car's around about 2 meters wide from wheel to wheel, and he somehow made it around about 4 or 6 meters wide. He was defending a lot, and it should have been his win had it not been for a rogue Cali Rob sending it up the inside, though we won't have to worry for Cali Rob today. Indian Jesus, the Alfa Romeo, out on another lap, but we're still waiting for a good half of the grid. Well, I say half, but 6 or 7 drivers still yet to set a lap time from 14th downwards, and probably Van Rocco wanting to set a more competitive lap time than a 29.1. So still a lot of people to set their lap times. We're now halfway through the session. What are they waiting for, Woot?
Well, if I had a crystal ball, I could tell you that. Perhaps it's just a few invalidations. You know, it is quite easy to do. You can run these curves quite hard. Other than that, it might just be a fact of seeing what other people are doing, what sort of times and tyres they're doing, and then making your call on as to what you're going to do strategy-wise for the start of the race. It's the only reason I could think of, really.
Yeah, for sure. Just to try and gauge what's going on. Wait for, of course, for that track to sort of rubber in as well. You want to get the prime track evolution. Of course, these Formula 1 cars going around at around about 200 miles an hour. Probably an average lap speed of about 140, I would say, around about Silverstone. It's a very fast and flowing circuit. You've got the likes of Cobbs, Woodcote, Maggots, Beckett's, Chapel, and Stowe, a very quick corner. You're very rarely on the brakes here, actually, at Silverstone, and that's why it's going to be very tricky for drivers in the race to harvest that ERS, because the energy recovery system relies on converting that kinetic energy into electrical energy under the braking. If you're not on the brakes for very long, you're not going to be harvesting as much energy. So it's going to really separate the good from the great when it comes to conserving that energy, because you cannot be so reliant on that overtake button, because around Silverstone it just will drain quickly.
Oh, contact there. Jurdy's just gone into the back of Dommy Lee. What was happening there? Looked like Dommy was trying to get some heat into his tyres, and Jurdy's straight into the back of him. It'll be interesting to see if they report that, but I don't think Jurdy's going backwards on the grass at the moment.
Having to wait for
Dummy. You try and get across into the pits. You can do that safely. Very strange incident there.
Indeed. Indian Jesus, though, goes quickest, the 26.721 on the soft compound tyres, going marginally quicker than Stein. ERT Henry as well. Jurdy's teammate having a little bit more success than the other Red Bull side of the garage. But in towards sector 1, can he go quicker? He can't. He is actually slower on the softs than compared to his mediums. Something's obviously happened, but yeah, a weird incident between Jurdy and Dominique. Couldn't quite catch it on my end of the stream, but yeah, it's weird. Accidents in qualifying. It's of course going to probably set Jurdy back and Dominique back, both of them probably being handed a 5-place grid penalty, which no one wants to see, but hey, it's a 26 lap race. Anything can happen. ERT Henry, though, boasted a very, very quick lap indeed on the mediums, not having similar success on the softs, though we only saw the first sector. He seems to have it very much hooked up through the middle sector, through Chapel and on to the hangar straight. I think he's he's about 3 tenths up and purple to the middle sector. So far looking like a really, really good lap from Henry on his first soft run. Managed to get that good lap on the mediums and setting I say relatively good, incredibly good pace, and he's looking to smash that pole time from Indian Jesus.
Yeah, a lot of people now on the soft tyres. Jurdy not happy with that incident at all. I think it was just a bit of a misunderstanding. Perhaps he thought Dommy Lee was letting him through. Henry, that's a very fast time there.
Ooh,
Stein goes even faster by a tenth. So yeah, these guys slogging out. You would have thought Henry could go a wee bit faster than that if it's a very competitive time in the mediums, but yeah, let's keep an eye on him.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he did lose a little bit of time to the first sector as opposed to gaining it, so there's definitely more in the tank for Henry. But again, a good lap from Stein, managing to improve upon his first lap time. But the the top four separated by just under 0.3 of a second. Stein, Henry, Indian Jesus, and Kachow, your top four, with Vengeance rounding off the top five provisionally. Still 5 minutes and 47 seconds left in this qualifying session, and it's tipped off to be a very, very close one indeed. Less than 1/10 of a second separating our top two Red Bull family cars. Stein and Henry, two of our qualifying maestros, you could say. Henry definitely having the 1 lap pace, more in the tank, but Stein, he's leading the championship for a reason. He's got race wins under his belt. He knows what it's like to slog it out in qualifying, and if anyone can pull a lap out of the bag, it's going to be Stein.
Yeah, definitely. You need to keep an eye on him. But Marco Pena still in the pits. He has a one-shot quali as punishment for taking out Tosta Cabra in the last race. He's still in the pits, so hopefully he'll be out soon to get a time on the board at least.
Well, you always want to have the best track, and of course you don't want to get it done over and done with too early. But of course the thing with one-shot qualifying is with qualifying you don't want to leave anything on the table, but with the one-shot qualifying you sort of have to. You sort of feel obliged to, in case you go marginally wide at one of the corners and validate it, and then you're at the back of the grid, as opposed to starting maybe 9th, 10th, 11th that you could have done had you just eased off a little bit rather than going for pole on a one-shot quali, which is definitely not the best idea. Having a look towards the midfield side of things, Honesy still on a medium compound tyre, going for sort of a long run. Maybe that's something we see Honesy do quite often. Strap on the mediums, go long, get that rhythm, get warmed up to the circuit, use the first half of qualifying or the first 2/3 of qualifying to your advantage, and just use it as a bit of practice, and then strap on a set of softs. That's something we saw him do at Portimao. Pulled one out of the bag. Wasn't even someone I even thought about for pole contention, but he managed to do it because he just seemed as though he was so far down, and then come in with about 2 minutes left to go, and then whipped out a very, very good lap indeed. Tosta Cabra in P10. He's a man that definitely looked decent in terms of a championship battle. Of course, won the season opener in Bahrain, but since hasn't really had the same success, and just hasn't been able to maintain that run of consistency. Both McLarens really have struggled in the last couple of rounds, and they need to get their act together quickly, because it's not long left of the season.
Yeah, they had a very good start to the season. Have really trailed off a bit, but yeah, Toss obviously very unlucky. Last race, hopefully he can get into the points again, because I think he had a reasonable finish last time out here. Well, P10, so points, where he is at the moment. Maybe he's just a very consistent Silverstone driver.
Yeah, well, he is Scottish. He doesn't probably want to be associated with a British Grand Prix, but hey ho, he's going to have to suck it up and call it the closest thing to his home race that he's going to get. And at the moment, P10, he's in the orange Papaya car, which is, or the Papaya orange I should say. He's in the McLaren, which is a British team, so he's going to want to do the team proud, the working team, and have them something to celebrate back at the MTC. But still, Stein, Henry, Indian Jesus and Kachow all in the pit lane. They're going to be waiting, and it's probably going to be a waiting game of who blinks first in terms of them getting out for their final runs. 2 minutes and 45 seconds left to go in qualifying. PHG Vengeance, a very quick driver, someone who you do not want to mess with when he's on or in his prime day. Yeah, P5 at the moment, around about 8/10 or so off pole position, but you know he's not too far off the second row, really. He's only, well, he just has to get to Kachow, and then Kachow's only about a couple of hundredths off Indian Jesus. So if he can make that big of a jump to Kachow, doesn't really have much to get himself inside the top three.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if you can do that. Half a second, but this is when it gets squeaky now for these guys. 3/10 separating the top four. Any of them really are in with a shout at the moment. It's about to get very interesting as Stein, Henry, Kachow and Indian Jesus all leave the pits almost together.
All simultaneously, as I said, it was going to be who blinks first, and yeah, well, Stein's going to be the first one to set the lap of the bunch, which is, well, it's if he sets a good lap time, it's all about the waiting game. Wherever if you're the likes of whoever's last in the queue. I mean, it's actually Kachow that's furthest out, but if you like the likes of Indian Jesus, who is furthest back, he's he then has to gauge everyone else's pace. He's going to be the last to come across the line. He then knows what's going to happen, whereas Stein and Henry there sat eagerly waiting for it to happen. Even if they set an incredible lap time, it's still questioning all the time whether it's going to be good enough. So for them, they need to get these tyres into a good window. They're going to have 1 lap left to go around Silverstone for qualifying. Stein, Henry, Indian Jesus, Kuchao, Vengeance, any one of these guys definitely have a realistic shot at doing this. But just have a look at the midfield. We say it time and time again in NRL, but just pretty much, well, a good quarter of the grid within the same tenth of a second. In fact, within the same half of the tenth of a second. They're all within 27.43 and Toss at 27.45. Very close.
Yeah, very close indeed. Silent into the pit, so he will be starting from P20. Unfortunately, there are a few other drivers who can get a lap in, but yeah, let's see who can get there.
Stein on his final run then in towards Village, then looking for the start of that curve, braking in a straight line down to 3rd gear, hit that inside apex, short shift to 4th, and as soon as you're in a straight line, brake for the loop in towards Aintree, pretty much flat out, just clip that inside apex, don't go on those social curbs because it really does unsettle the car. Back down the Wellington straight and towards Brooklands. There's no 50 board for him to look out for unless it's on the left hand side, slightly up, 5/1000ths of a second up in towards Luffield, where you just have to take a nice V-line shaped line in towards going deep, cut it back, get a straight exit through Woodcote and down the old pit straight towards Cops Corner, where you've really got to be committed. It was easy flat in the last game, not so much on this game. He's keeping it pinned over the curb, bit of a slide, and that is going round for the Alpha Tower. He managed to save it and keep it out of the wall, but that's going to be his run for pole over, and he's going to need to hope that the likes of Henry and the likes of Indian Jesus do not topple it. ERT Henry, Kuchao goes into P2, 1/1000th of a second off provisional pole, and that is going to be heartbreaking for him. That's going to be a sigh of relief for Stein. ERT Henry though, 7/100ths of a second up. It's not quite enough, but if he can improve a little bit for these final 3 corners, we can definitely see him on pole.
Wow, I cannot believe that. Kuchao very, very close. Pole sitter last time, and he's narrowly missed it here so far. Yeah, Stein did well to keep that one out of the wall.
Oh, Henry improved. Yeah, 3/10 it came up on my timing screen. 26.431 and a provisional pole position. It's now all eyes on Indian Jesus, who's backing off his lap time, and a red track map means he's not going to be taking further part in qualifying. So ERT Henry by 46 1,000ths of a second between himself and Stein. 26.431 for ERT Henry, 26.477 for Stein. It was a very, very hard fought battle between the two, but on this particular occasion it was Henry that got the better of them. An incredible lap at the death fit, and that's really where it counts. It separates the good from the great because, well, Henry, he had a whole lot of pressure on his shoulders and he managed to deliver.
He did. Great lap, but very, very close in the end. All 3 of those guys on a 26.4, very close. Marco Kenya with his qualifying infringement does get into P8, so that's a good effort from him. Toss as well, I think he'll be pretty pleased with that. Not too far off the top 6, so yeah, another good performance from him.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, he's, well, give him a 10th of a second and he's right up there with Tom and Vengeance, so not at all a bad effort for a one-shot qualifying. You usually see drivers take 2 or 3 to actually warm themselves up. So yeah, Mark of Kenya is doing well in qualifying. How well he's going to do over the course of the 26 lap 50% race for round number 9 is going to be a completely different story. And well, 1 lap in qualifying does not translate into good race pace. We've seen that time and time again. Who's going to come out on top? And well, for qualifying it certainly was ERT Henry, the top 3 separated by less than half a tenth of a second, though the Red Bull driver taking another pole position of this season, with Stein rounding off the top 2. Kuchao in P3 with Indian Jesus P4, with Vengeance rounding off the top 5. Tom Prof in P6 with Toss in P7, Mark of Kenya P8 with P9, and Hervina in P10. Honesy in P11 with PAFR, Aeneas in P12, Dominic P13, David P14. A very, very awkward run in qualifying for him, though his race pace is certainly very good indeed. Eric in P15 with Jerdy P16, Connects in P17, Van Rocco P18 on his return, with Stuart Little and Silent unable to set a lap time. But don't forget, Dominic and Jerdy will be starting towards the back end of the grid with their qualifying penalties. And so they've got it all to work out for, though luckily they still have the benefit of that free tyre choice.
They do, yeah. Tommy Lee only missed the line for another fast attempt, a matter of seconds. It's very, very close. So, yeah, not how he wanted his qualifying to go, but yeah, the incident, I think they just didn't know what the other one was doing, and I think Jurdy thought Dommy was pitting. Dommy just warming the tyres up, and into the back. Not a lot they could do once they'd committed to a fast lap for the both of them.
Yeah, unfortunately, it is going to be the back end, though. Dominic does want to boast some success around Silverstone, and he expects Kachow to be doing it as well. Kachow in P3, 1/1000th of a second off the front row and half a tenth off pole position. He certainly has the pace. Can he go for back-to-back Silverstone victories? We will soon find out in 27 laps time if you include the formation lap, with 26 racing laps. Hopefully we don't get too interrupted by a safety car. But they can be prone. I mean, Abbey, of turn 1, is a very quick corner. Prone maybe for a couple of first lap incidents, but hopefully the majority of the guys do keep it clean.
Yeah, it's a tough one because you've just been on a qualifying load. The car is so light and responsive. Now you're going, a matter of minutes later, you've got a heavy car, cold tyres, and yeah, it's a fast turn, and you're so close to the other cars. An incident is never far away. But yeah, it's just about getting your braking right into village, not being too overconfident on the brakes, because the track is quite wide, so there's a lot of availability for getting the car into places to pass. But yeah, you just have to keep it clean on the first lap is the goal for everybody.
For sure, they always say you cannot win the race on lap 1, but you can certainly lose it. And while overtakes on lap 1 do help and can set the trajectory for the race, if you've got a guy that's going to be very quick in front of you and you've managed to get past him on that first lap, it's going to be a good effort. It's going to set you up well, but of course, again, do not be a hero. You don't want to be the last late breakers, because on the 1 out of 10 tries that it does work and you gain 10 positions on lap 1, there's going to be 9 other times where you either spin yourself out or spin someone else out, or both. So it's best to just keep it on the safe side, pick your way through, just be patient, pick your moments, and use your pace as opposed to sending it up the inside. 21 seconds until we go green for the formation lap. It's going to be very crucial for these drivers to warm their tyres up, weaving around left to right. I'm sure we're going to see, and of course, that run into Abbey, very crucial. You want those warm tyres, you want those grippy tyres off the line in order to get that good launch, because it's not a very long run.
No, not long at all. And even if you do get a bit held up at the start, or it doesn't go to plan, you've got to remember that your true pace, you can really release that on this track, because there are a lot of overtaking places. So yeah, qualifying, obviously you want to be near the front, but those like Domily and Yerdy perhaps are further back than they would have expected. Yeah, they do have a good chance to make up those places and show us really how quick they are.
For sure, yeah. Well, for the entirety of the top 10, it is going to be soft tyres, though. Honesy, Anias, Connect, Dominique, Stuart Little and Silent all opting for the medium tyre. Other than that, it's pretty unanimous for the soft compound of tyre. Only 6 drivers going for the yellow stripe medium. They're going to go long into this race, probably around about to lap 14, 15, and then go for softs to the end of this race, where they've got lighter fuel. So it's pretty much just going to be quali spec, because the softs don't really wear out too much, neither do the mediums. Because of we go for the harder range of the Pirelli range here at Silverstone, so you're not as prone to sort of tyre wear. While it is a very demanding circuit, the tyres do make up for it. So yeah, softs and mediums can both go very long into this race if need be, and I think if you have to go on the hard tyres, that's pretty much a race, well, not race over of course, but it's going to be very difficult for you to make pace if you have to opt for those hards.
Yeah, safety car could throw it all out the window. But yeah, Holmesy in a good position on those mediums. I think he'll be very calm at this point, because you can just, everyone in front of you is on different strategies. Just go at your own pace, try and pick a few of them off, and don't let their gap grow too much, and then you'll be on the softs for the final part when your car's nice and light. There we go, they're slowing down. You've got a Red Bull at the front and a Red Bull at the back just coming through the shot now.
Pretty much the entire grid sandwiched between the two Red Bulls. It's a sandwich, a Red Bull bread with every other team filling for the sandwich. ERT Henry though, through Stowe in towards taking control. He's going to line himself up on the pole position slot. On the left hand side should be the preferred line for turn number 1, though, if Stein can get a good start, which we've seen him do before. can certainly throw it into the mix. Look back to the 2021 British Grand Prix with Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton going side by side pretty much for half a lap before we all know how that story ended. Hopefully for ERT Henry and Stein it's going to be a different story, though still a mighty battle indeed. Jody, once we wait for him to round off the grid at the backside, the green flag will be waved and then we'll go to 5 red lights. 26 laps of the British Grand Prix ahead of us. Henry on pole, Stein alongside, Kachow and Indian Jesus make up the second row. We're lined up, we're ready to go. We want to go racing for round number 9. And here we are. The 5 red lights soon to illuminate your screen. The cars are revving up. The adrenaline is pumping. 4 lights, 5 red lights for round number 9 here in Britain. And we're underway in racing. It seems to be a pretty tentative start from pole position for ERT Henry, though Stein can't quite match it in towards turn 1. Has to tuck in behind. That's Kachow trying to defend from Indian Jesus, who's looking around the outside. Vengeance trying to make up places as well. Kachow on the back of Stein in towards Village for the first time. A big lockup from the AlphaTauri, but still ERT Henry leads commandingly from the AlphaTauri and the Haas. Bit of contact maybe a little bit further back. This is Mark of Kenya having a really good start side by side with the Mercedes through Aintree. Bit of contact between the two. Vengeance has to concede, and the Williams around the outside. A lot of cars going just going haywire. That's Vert trying to get up the inside of Vengeance and compromise Vengeance in towards Brooklands, but so far so good for the start.
Yeah, Honesy losing out massively. He just went a little bit wide into turn 1 and that just put him up on the outside of the track. But yeah, very aggressive driving, but all clean so far from what I can see.
Yeah, good start indeed. This is Honesy now down the back, pit straight in towards Copse Corner. Had the run on Jurdy, but he had to back out, and he's now got McLaren on his inside. Stuart Little going in too deep. Honesy's going to say, well, you go in deep, I'm going to go underneath you. And side by side through Magnussen Beck is definitely not what they're going to want to do. Kachow, though, incredible start, keeping Stein on his toes. Now down this back hanger straight in towards Stowe Corner. ERT Henry, very convincingly leading this. Havana off at Beckett's, Chapel. Very weird place to lose the car. But he's managed to get going very good indeed for his race and to get away with no damage, get away unscathed. It's not something you can often boast around Silverstone. It's all kicking off at the back side of the grid though. Connects on the outside of David in towards Vale. Henry leads us through lap 1. Side by side goes Jurdy and Tob through. Oh no!
He just put in a move on the McLaren, and there might have been a bit of contact, but he's gone round. He's got it right way quickly again though. But yeah, that's unfortunate for Van Rocco on his return.
Yeah, that is a shame. You always want a dream return to the sport and to the league in general, but for Van Rocco it's not being the fairy tale return that we would have hoped for. This is Indian Jesus on the back of Kachow, who's trying to put pressure on Stein in towards Brooklands. Is he quite close enough to launch an attack? Has a little look, feels Kachow's mirror, says, well, I'm going to try and send one to the inside if you give me the opportunity, but not quite on this occasion. The Alpine of Domi Lee with a relatively good start on those mediums on the back of Vert in P7. Let's see if he can launch an attack in towards Copse Corner using his ERS, that extra 160 brake horsepower that he has at his disposal. Is it going to be enough to launch that attack? Not quite going to be the case. David on the back of Connects. These two can't quite get enough. It's a Ferrari on the inside of the Mercedes. The Mercedes, though, around the outside. They're now going to be side by side on the run towards Magnus Beckett. Is either of them going to back out? No, they're not. Over the curb goes the Mercedes. Is he round? Yes, he is. And he's out of this race. A huge crash. And has David gone with him? Yes, he has. A big crash. But I think that was a disaster in the making.
I just caught the end of that Ferrari going backwards. But yeah, a big one. Is that going to bring out a safety car? The far side of the track by the fence, so perhaps it won't. But yeah, that's a big one. 16 of a very expensive accident.
Huge crash, and well, luckily no safety car on lap 3 though. The important thing about lap 3 is now the drag reduction system, the DRS, is now enabled, and Stein, he's got a Haas and an Alfa Romeo breathing down his neck. Look at Kachow literally pushing Stein through the loop, and needs a good run through Aintree. Stein not going to get the benefit of the DRS from Henry in front, and now Kachow's going to close at a rate of knots. Is it going to be enough to launch the attack in towards Brooklands? Has a little look, not quite enough. And Indian Jesus just waiting in the wings, waiting for something to happen. And as Shurdo said in the Discord, it was a Red Bull, not quite a Red Bull at the moment. Very nice play on the term. But P13 for Jurdy, he's made up 7 places in these opening laps. Very respectable feat indeed. And Stein just trying to close that gap. How it's going to be so important for him to get inside that 1 second range for his defence.
There's contact there. Domin Lee and NJ Ananas going side by side. Well, he's trying to go through side by side the cops. And I think Ananas has got damage to his wing. I don't know who instigated that, but yeah, he's across the track. He's going to have to pick for a new wing. Yep, completely gone.
Definitely not what you want, but yeah, that is the case with Silverstone. That's Vengeance getting himself ahead of Mark of Kenya, who himself has made a good start despite his lack of qualifying. But lap 3 of 26, and Stein is all over the back of ERT Henry. He's closed that gap pretty tremendously. No DRS down the Hamilton straight, newly dubbed. Kachow setting the fastest lap, a 29.751. He's definitely got the pace, but he's got an AlphaTauri between himself and the race leader. If he does get himself in front and Stein doesn't put up much of a fight, can he catch Henry? That is going to be the question, though. Stein within 1 second of Henry. Maybe Henry helping out Stein, the Red Bull family teams, maybe having a bit of team play, because that DRS is going to help Stein out massively in defending from Kachow. And of course, Indian Jesus. It's just a 4-car train now for the race lead. Those behind Kachow and Indian Jesus, they just haven't got that sheer overspeed in order to close the gap down the straight.
Yeah, just playing tactical at the moment. They don't want to be pushing too hard and showing their hand. Domily in with a new wing, and so is Ananas. So yeah, that's their afternoon trouble. I think they're both on the hard tyres now.
To the end of the race, perhaps.
Yeah, maybe. They've got nothing to lose, so hopefully the safety car will play into their hands. They can strap a set of socks on it late enough and be back in the fight.
A late safety car would definitely not go amiss for these guys, and still a 4-car train at the front. ERT Henry leads from Stein, Kachow, Indian Jesus and Vengeance. Your top 5. Indian Jesus seems to be really slippery in a straight line. Toss managing to make it back up to P8, though. Silent's going to say, no you don't. I'm zooming past down the hangar straight. Gets himself ahead before the braking zone. Clean move, and through Stowe gets the job done. Those medium tyres seems to be working for Silent very well. Remember, he did start P19, and Stein setting the pace now. He's found a 9th gear, it seems. Struggled a little bit for pace at the start of this race, but has finally settled into that rhythm and shown that consistency we know from the championship leader. Though he wants this win, of course he wants this win, but with a championship at stake, can he afford to lose points if he sends a move too soon?
It's tough. I'm watching Havana and Van Rocco are going to go wheel to wheel here. Havana's just got past, and Rocco's not giving it up easy. He's going to have a go into turn 3. Oh, Yerdy, what's happened to Yerdy? He's going very slow in his contact. Yerdy's gone round.
Big crash.
Yeah, need to go down the inside. I don't think they'll have any damage with that, but yeah, I'm not sure why. Well, happened to Yerdy? He was going very slowly there, but yeah, it's all kicking off today.
It certainly is. Well, I think what happened was Jerdy just sort of popped out of nowhere. Then Havana sort of had to just get out of the way, move under braking. That, of course, knocked Van Rocco off course, sent him over the sausage curb. Luckily for him, didn't spin, but that subsequently sent Van Rocco into Havana into Jerdy, and then the subsequent contact that preceded it. Which is a shame to see, but Stein, we have to cut our focus immediately back to the front. It's all kicking off certainly very quickly. In fact, look back to P9, because Toss is coming back to Tom Prof in towards Stowe corner. The McLaren ahead before the corner. The 2 British teams fighting over 2 points, P9 and 10. And though is the Williams going to come back up the inside? Not on this particular occasion. In fact, he is. He's going to send it up the inside now, side by side through the Vale chicane. The McLaren gets the better drive, though, and Tom could be vulnerable from the Ferrari behind Holmesy. Really not making many steps forward in this race so far. ERT Henry, he's got Stein breathing down his neck through the loop. 7/10 is the gap. That's going to be a monumental task for the AlphaTauri to close, though they're all just saving that ERS. Look at Henry, pretty much a full battery. He's not been pushing at all. It's more just a Saturday evening drive for the Red Bull, who's just chilling at the front. We know how thirsty Silverstone can be, so he's controlling the pace. This race is his to lose.
Yeah, that's it. Just controlling the pace. He doesn't want Stein to get too close to be able to put a move on him, but he just wants him in his pocket, knowing that he can open the throttle if he needs to. Yeah, perfect pace. Kachow, similar position. He wants to keep in touch with them, but probably isn't considering making a move at the moment, unless he's going flat out. But my guess is that they just want to get close enough to each other for now, and make a move a bit later on. Very strategic game here they're all playing.
It is. You want to just sort of maximise the first stint, though. Stein is closing at a rate of knots. Henry goes defensive to the right-hand side in towards Stowe corner. The AlphaTauri has got the overwhelming straight line speed. Side by side through Stowe corner. The AlphaTauri on the outside. Henry trying to keep it on the inside, though can't quite mount a challenge for the charging AlphaTauri, who finds a way through nonetheless. Henry a little bit laggy. That could have affected Stein's run a little bit, though Stein managing to finally get through, sets the fastest lap of the race for his troubles as well, at 29.506. And now it's time from Henry, Kachow and Indian Jesus, this top 4 fight for the victory. ERT Henry, though, is going to be breathing down his neck through Freed Village And again, he's definitely pretty decent in a straight line. Needs to get that good run. Does he want to launch the counter-attack? Maybe he does. He has got a really good run. He's going to get the benefit, that 20 kbh bonus from the DRS. Not using his DRS though. Just letting Stein control the race from this point on. Maybe they don't want to fight too hard. Maybe they just want to stick together, work together, whatever it might be. At the moment, they don't seem to be putting up too much of a challenge.
No, he's made me eat my words there, Stein. I was expecting him just to sit within that little train, but he's just had other ideas. Kachao would have been loving that, and I think Stein may be considering just trying to back Henry up a little bit so that Kachao can have a go. But of course, you run the risk of being past yourself, so it'll be interesting to see what Stein decides to do here.
Sort of feed them to the pack of wolves, if you will, and just let Kachao and Indian Jesus munch the Red Bull up, and then Stein can himself get away. Is the RT Henry going to go for the move in towards Stowe? He's got the pace. He is closing relatively quickly. The relative speed is around about 12 miles an hour in the favour of the Red Bull, now pushing him through Stowe corner. Just didn't quite have enough under the brakes in order to launch that attack. We look back for the fight for P6. This is Vert looking to the inside. Eco's silent in P8 as well. Honesy getting himself into the top 9, getting past the McLaren and the Williams. Honesy with some decent pace indeed. Eco's silent still on the back of Vert as well. We've definitely got a lot of battles going on, and not enough eyes to be able to watch them. Henry though, he's sticking with Stein. He's saving the battery, whereas Stein pretty much half the battery that Henry's got. So yeah, at the moment I'd say it's advantage Henry.
Yeah, perhaps it's very strange that battle for 6th you just talking about there, because it's albeit very late to open his DRS. It was almost the braking zone when he actually opened it, and it sort of flashed a bit. He had a half-hearted move on Marco Kenya, but nothing came of it. And yeah, Silent up 11 places. Honesy back into 9th, and he was sort of down towards P18, 17 at the start. So yeah, good drives from the 8th and 9th place drivers at the moment. It goes very wide there. Might have a cut back on Kenya though.
Nothing much on this particular occasion through Woodcote, and Marco Kenya definitely making that Williams very wide indeed. Still all eyes at the front though, not much happening. There's sort of just a cold war, if you will, sort of just an idle fight. They're all keeping each other honest, putting that pressure on, but not mounting a challenge on anyone at the moment. I think Henry just wants to savour that ERS and not get caught up in a battle, because he knows the threat that Kachao and Indian Jesus pose. It's better for him to stick in the DRS, because then he's got a defence from those behind. This is Vert closing at a rate of knots on Marco Kenya, going to the left hand side. The Williams going defensive. He's going to go the long way round. He's got that overwhelming pace. The Williams going to fight back though. Side by side is ahead in towards the Vale chicane, and Vert is going to have to tuck in once more. Marco Kenya really trying to defend that P6 though. Kachao going for the proactive strategy. Lap 9 of 26, a usually very early pit stop, but it seemed to work, and the Red Bull going to look around the outside. Bit of contact to the rear diffuser of the AlphaTauri. Maybe now we're at the pit window. This is where the Red Bull is going to fight back.
Yeah, Kachao calling it, maybe trying to do the undercut here. It was good defence there from Marco Kenya. That was very clean. Good driving from Veert as well to put his car into that position. But yeah, good from both of them. And Veert's maybe going to have another go here as Kenya goes to the inside.
Yeah, he does indeed, parking it in the middle of the track. Vert's going to be confident. He's going to try and go. Is in this race as well. Vert's probably in the worst position of the three, being second place in that train. Just you have to attack and defend. You're looking forwards, but you're also looking in your mirrors, and it's a very, very awkward situation to be in. But he wants that P5. Well, then that P6 after Kachao and the rest of the pit stops filtered themselves in. 2 tenths between IT Henry and Stein as we go onto the hangar straight. Surely these guys don't want to lose any unnecessary time to Kachao, who's in clean air. He's pushing to his maximum, and here comes Henry. He's using his ERS. He's got the DRS. He's closing at a rate of knots. Stein's going to squeeze him. There's a bit of contact between the two. Henry, though, down the inside in towards Stowe corner. Are both of them going to come into the pit lane? No. Henry stays out. Stein stays out. Indian Jesus stays out. They're going long and letting Kachao wear out his tyres. Do these softs still have enough pace in them?
Yeah, maybe just a few more laps. I mean, Toss the K-Birds keeping on the back of Honesy. Tom Prokop all over the back of him, using almost all of his ERS to try and get through. But yeah, Toss just sticking with Honesy, keeping up pace and saving his ERS. So a good strategy from him, as we're seeing a few more pit stops now. Vengeance and Viet into the pits.
A lot of people peeling their way in. Is still the top 3, top 4 still yet to pit on the soft compound tyres. We're going to wait for a while for them to do so. Well, probably either this lap or next lap at the latest. But crucially, Kachao didn't come out in traffic. He's got that clean air to push. He can do pretty much exactly what he wants to, which is warm those tyres up to their maximum potential and then just get pushing and use those fresh tyres and try and open that gap up. Because if Stein and Henry start battling, I mean, Henry's opened that gap up with a pretty sizable amount of pace. About the second already is the gap between them, so it just shows what pace Henry's got. He's burning through his battery now. You can see under 50%. He had 100% in the battery, so he's using this final burst of pace to minimise the attack of Kachao, who's now up to P12 before the pit stops. It's going to be very close between them. It's a long and slow pit lane here at Silverstone. You seem to be stopped for an eternity. This is Silent out of Chapel, DRS open, and DRS. Can he launch the attack for a provisional P4?
Can have a go around the outside. Can you go to the inside? I don't think. Yeah, he's already through before the turn. Good move from Silent, made that one nice and clean. But yeah, Henry into the pits,
as well as Indian Jesus, and Stein stays out another lap. He's going to, I mean, he was 7/10 slower on that previous lap time. That's 7/10 a lap. That's a huge amount of time when you think that these guys were separated by 1.5 seconds, the top four. But Silent sets the fast lap of 1:29.432 on those mediums. So these mediums coming into their own. But I think it's all eyes on Kachao. Will ride on board with him on these medium tyres compared to where Henry and Indian Jesus come out. He's going to be their main rivals. I think he might actually have done this. He's got the overwhelming pace. That's the fastest lap of the race, a 28.937. Is he going to get the jump? You can see Henry now leaving the pit lane. He's going to be on colder tyres. Are they going to be side by side in towards Village? Yes, they are. Kachao on the outside. This could be the fight for the provisional race lead. Squeezes him to the inside. It's now the inside for the loop. The Rebel trying it around the outside. Going to go for the switcheroo and get that drive off the corner. Who's going to have the DRS down this back hanger straight? It's not going to be ERT Henry. And with the cold tyres, Kachao, a crucial move for him to make. He needed to make that stick, because if he was behind that, he probably could have written off the net race lead there.
Yeah, obviously Henry with a lot of ERS, so he's still got a lot to play with. But yeah, very good tactically from Kachao there to get ahead. It depends how quickly Henry's looking to get through, because you'd think they'd both be catching Stein. I would expect him to come into the pit soon, unless he really feels he's got a lot of pace left in those tyres. But no, into the pits.
Yeah. Surely it's got to be. I mean, you've got to get it stopped, and the longer you start, the more time you lose. 27.4 seconds the gap from Kachao to Stein. It's going to be very close as they come out, but we'll go all eyes on Kachao. No, nothing else really happening. Henry just needs to sit with him, because if he fights with him, yeah, you can see downshifting to 7th just to make sure he doesn't go for that move to the inside. They need to work together. They know they've got the chance to get through. Indian Jesus, though, poor opening to the second stint for him, losing 2 seconds during the pit lane. Whether that was sort of being a little bit too careful on the brakes for the pit lane, though, better to be safe than sorry. Stein now leaving his pit box and driving towards the pit exit. Are both of them going to get ahead? He's now leaving the pit lane. Kachao's ahead. Henry's ahead. Is Indian Jesus going to be ahead? He might well be. Could be side by side. Indeed, he is going to be ahead. So Stein staying out those couple of laps. It was only 2 laps, but it's cost him 3 places in the grand scheme of things. Henry, though, he might want to have a go at that net race lead. He's tucked up nicely using that slipstream. He's going to use his ERS, maybe his DRS as well, down this hanger straight in towards Brooklands to the left-hand side. Has the pace, blitzes past, under brakes. Is the Haas going to go around the outside? No, he's not. A great move from Henry, and shows that he has got the pace. Slightly fresher tyres, and now they've turned on for him. He can now stretch his legs and sort of spread his wings as the Rebel car will give him.
Yeah, that's really not played into Stein's hands very well at all. And Indian Jesus with a 3-second penalty, he's out of the contention really at this point. So Stein's going to have to get past ASAP. Kachao, yeah, that played very well into his hands, and he is just saving ERS at the moment as well. Yeah, it's going to be a battle between these two, I think, for the end of the race.
For sure, yeah. I mean, Indian Jesus 1.7 back. He's going to have to hope that these two start fighting. You can see Henry sort of being tentative in his mirrors. Doesn't really know where to park the car. Doesn't know if Kachao is going to go for the move or not. But I think they have got relatively equal pace. Indian Jesus, though, under pressure from Stein, who's going to want to make up for that poor start to his second stint. But yeah, all eyes on these 4 drivers: Henry, Kachao, Indian Jesus, and Stein. Indian Jesus, though, his only his second race, and he's already fighting at the front. Shows that he is definitely a star for the future of NRL. And Kachao trying to get back on form. It's been a while since we've seen him fight competitively at the front. Last time was Monza when he lost the win to Domi Lee, but he's back, hopefully for good this time around. And he can start to get back on form and maybe remount a title challenge for season number 6. Only time will tell. At the moment, he's got the British Grand Prix on his hands, and to try and get past ERT Henry.
Yeah, and Jananus just got past his teammate Eric towards the back P16. He's now right behind Domi Lee. Might see a bit of action there. Other than that, we're still behind Marco Kenya, not able to get through. On the same strategy now, so Yeah, we imagine we'll be getting a bit frustrated, but Marco Kenya's got almost all of his ERS to use, so neither of them seem to be pushing too much. But Fiat, yeah, how long can you hold behind a driver before you do something a bit dangerous or a bit aggressive?
A bit like this.
He goes very wide there.
Oh, well, I mean, we saw Desperation getting the better of Calirob last time out, didn't we? And Vert may start to be seeing the effects of that. Marco Kenya going in deep in towards Chapel. Vert's going to say, well, I'm going to set this up very nicely. Gets the drive off Maggots, Beckett and Chapel. Now going to run side by side down this back straight in towards Stowe. And I think this could be a done deal for Vert, who's going to be breathing a sigh of relief to get himself ahead. And finally going to get himself ahead. Now it's head down and not lose that. He's worked so hard for this position. The Williams looking to come back up the inside, but he does not want all of that hard work to be in vain.
Yeah, Ananas through on Tommy Lee, and I think Yerdy's going to have a go at Van Rocco further back as well for P18. He's through before the DRS point. More action going on towards the back of the grid at the moment.
Sure, and well, Vert has actually gotten re-overtaken by Markov Kenya. He went deep through Club, and Markov Kenya managed to get the driver off the corner and run side by side with him. To the disfortune and probably the sunken face of Vert, who's worked so hard for it. He's now going to try and come back at him down the Wellington straight in towards Brooklands. Has he got the pace to do so? No, he hasn't. It's going to be another lap of sat behind the Sofina sponsored rear wing of that Williams. And he's definitely going to want to check out Sofina, so the Williams sponsor and definitely going to be going up slightly, and I think they're going to want to charge more for that rear wing. I think this is P12, the fight for P11. This is Toss on the back of Hervina. We've got little groups. We've got drivers splitting off into pairs here and there, and triplets, and having their own little battles, but nothing really coming into fruition at the front because Henry has got the pace. Kachau closing with DRS. Is he going to launch an attack? Not quite going to be able to. This is Stein to the inside of Indian Jesus into Stowe. Nice move indeed. Indian Jesus might want to launch that counter attack very soon though, and Stein, well, for him, he's going to want to close that 2-second gap to Kachau in front and try and relaunch his threat for the race win.
Yeah, Silent into the pits from the race lead. That hands over now to Honesy. So it'll be interesting to see where he comes out and how much of a gap he closes on the specifically Indian Jesus will be his closest, so he's going to be behind Vengeance as well. So yeah, we'll need to keep an eye on him as to whether he can unleash some pace that's maybe even head towards the podium with the fresh soft tyres.
Yeah, for sure, maybe so. No, he's
Kenya's off. Kenya's in the gravel.
No. Whereas this is turn number 2. This is through Farm, and he might lose 2 more places. And Domili now coming around the turn 2, and he's managed to stay ahead, but he's going to need to get that gravel off the tyre.
Yeah, he's wing damage as well. He's missing the right front end plate, so he must have gone quite far off there. Maybe a bit of oversteer or possibly contact, but yep, he's had damage. He's been in with a conversation with the barriers by the seams of it.
Yeah, visited his good mate Barrier, and well, certainly gone in for a cup of tea at the very least. Kachau still keeping Henry honest, though burning through a little bit of ERS to do so. Pretty much equal are the two of them. No penalties. The Kachau on the older tyres, Henry on the younger. 2 laps between the two. Though that's not going to make much of a difference now. Once you get in towards the 20s on the lap count, that could start taking an effect because Kachau's going to hit that cliff a lot sooner than Henry.
Yeah, he will. Henry now only 5.6 to stop. 15 lap old medium tyres. But yeah, I think both of those are going to be quite far behind Silent. I'm interested to see how quickly he gets up to Vengeance. Gap 1.7 at the moment. But yeah, he could be on to challenge these guys because he's only Vengeance 6 seconds behind. I don't know what the pace is, and if they trip over each other, Silent could well be in for an even better result than a podium.
Perhaps so. I mean, it's going to be a monumental task for him to do so, but never say never when it comes to sim racing and motorsport in general. There's a billion different variables for every race. We've got a nice little spicy battle for P11 here. Tom Go Prof on the back of David, who's on the back of Hervina down this back straight in towards Brooklands. The Ferrari closing, using as little ERS he's got to the left-hand side. Can he brake late enough? Yes, he can. Up the inside, a pretty textbook move in towards Brooklands. Under brakes, got it done. Plain sailing, and well, he lost his podium streak last time out in Portimao. He doesn't look good for a podium, so once he's lost it, I don't think he's going to be well, too confident in getting it back. It's all about mentality and keeping that rhythm, because once you lose it, it's really hard to get it back. And that's a similar story in terms of racing. If you're in a pack race, you lose one position, you quite often lose 2 or 3.
Yeah, good move from David there though. Nice on the braking down the inside. Domily picks up another penalty actually, but not too far from Alanis, so he's not running away with P14. Even though he is on the, both of them on the hard tyres actually, so they're having a little battle that I'm sure Pirelli will be very interested in as Tom Croft goes past Havina on the inside. So that's
and Kachal's gone round. Sorry to butt in through farm. Kachal's spun round. He's now tumbled down to P7. That is a fight for a race win in the bin for Kachal. He's now down to P8. Has he sustained damage to the front wing of that Haas? I need a good camera angle in order to see. We're only getting the front wing end plate or the nose cone of this car. Looks okay so far. Right. Relatively okay. That's good then. He can carry on. But Silent, it could play into his hands. I mean, Honesy still yet to pit. He's going to be behind. So too is Stuart Little. He's in for a net P5 and he's on the back of Vengeance. That's going to be a net P4. He only needs to close in 3 seconds. Indian Jesus, who's got a penalty and will see himself on the podium. Throw in a safety car. Don't count Silent out of this.
Yeah, this is going to be very interesting now. But unlucky for Kachal, I didn't see what happened to him. But yeah, he'll be gutted with that. He was having a very good race, both on pace and tactically up till then. He's very impressive. Unfortunate for him.
Yeah, no, 1.8 seconds off Silent, who's on fresh softs, and it's going to be difficult for him to bridge that gap. David on the back of Toss, though, in towards Maggott and Beckett's the fight for the final points paying position. Toss is going to want to go for 2 P10s in a row. This is Silent, though, getting past Vengeance for P6. That's a net P4. His race definitely going his way. David with a little bit of ERS in the battery. Toss having to go defensive, going to squeeze him. David's going to dummy to the inside. The fight for P10 up the inside under brakes. Very comfortably done, and that is 2 overtakes in 2 laps for the Ferrari, who's on a charge. Silent though, fast slap, a 28.662. He's definitely got pace to charge towards the front.
Yeah, he's on a charge. I'm surprised a bit Toss there let David get so close because he has so much ERS to use and just goes wide, picking up a penalty. David almost out of ERS, so Toss might want to have a go back now. This is probably his best chance if he does want to get ahead of David.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be DRS. He's going to be very vulnerable. He's going to be looking at that red blinking rain light like a bull chasing red, and he's definitely going to want to do it and try and find a way through because the closing speed is going to be sensational. Yellow flags. That's one of the Williams. That's either
Kenya.
Or it's Mark of Kenya. His race really not going well. He spun at Cops, managed to get going again though, and that's probably going to be his saving grace. But Van Rocco's retired as well in the pit lane, so no full course yellow for him. But it's definitely not been the fairy tale return for the Alpine.
No, it's not. Good to get some just experience behind the wheel again, or controller. I'm not too sure what he decided on in the end, but yeah, Kenya very strange going in backwards into the barriers. So yeah, no damage I think to his wing. Just doing the smart thing there, and everything else passed. He's now being lapped.
Well, Stuart Little finally though into the pit lane. And coming in for his stop, he's going to be on light fuel and fresh tyres.
Yeah, Stuart and Honesy stays out another lap, so maybe Stuart was quite far behind Honesy, but perhaps we'll see a change of lead soon, and then we'll see what those guys can do.
Havina though, 17 laps he's done on those soft tyres. Not quite sure how they haven't popped, but he's certainly struggling for grip, and I can see why. Stuart Little though, tumbling down the order, he's going to have fresh softs. He's going to have around 8 laps in order to do something with them. Sierra Little Indian Jesus though, this is the fight for net P2. The 2 Alfa Romeos are looking very good indeed. Can Silent close that gap? Mark of Kenya has retired in the pit lane as well, bringing our count up to 3. After a promising start to the race and a promising qualifying, Mark of Kenya couldn't quite convert into a good result. Here in Silverstone, Honesy though still leads, 18 laps he's done on those mediums. 10 seconds back is ERT Henry, who's going to assume the race lead when Honesy does come in. Though a safety car could spice things up. Honesy could come in, so too would probably a lot of people for fresh soft. So if a safety car comes out now, Honesy could be one of the favourites to win.
Yeah, and if that using a lot of ERS there and that in that. But, yeah, I'm very surprised Havina is doing that. Is he? It's puncture, right front puncture now, as you were saying. Yeah, those tyres were in very poor condition. You can just take a look at them, and that right front has finally gone. Got to nurse it back to the pits, but yeah, that's a very strange thing to do for 18 laps. It's just about able to keep it on the tarmac.
Slowly
got on well, has he stopped yet at all? What was he on to start with? The mediums, I think.
No clue at all. I mean, he's definitely stopped because they're not 20 lap old softs. But yeah, a weird one indeed. Honesy rejoining the circuit in P8, maybe 9. No, it's going to be P8. To be fair, I thought he was going to lose a lot more time than he did. 2 seconds to Vert and 5 seconds to Kachow. Those fresh tyres definitely going to be helping him along the way. Indian Jesus and Stein both very close in terms of pace and ERS, and of course track position as well. They are not separated by much. Could be a close fight though. Indian Jesus, he's got that ball and chain wrapped around his ankle with that 3-second penalty that could set him back, and well, if Silent finds a little bit more pace, it could even cost him a podium.
Yeah, that's right. I think Stein just spent too much time on those tyres at the start of the race. Should have pitted early. It's a good battle here between David, Toss, Tongo Prop. Lower end of the top 10, so keep an eye on them as well. But yeah, Kachow is second to Vengeance, so he might be able to get in DRS and put a move on.
Well, he's going to want to recover for after that bit of an incident earlier on. Well, it was only a couple of laps ago, fighting for the net race lead, and once again another bottled win for Kachow. He's not going to live this one down for quite a while. I'm sure it's going to be sort of salt in the wound after what has been a relatively poor season for the champion. He's found the form though. He's definitely got the pace. He just needs to he needs to hook a whole day up. He needs to hook up qualifying, which he did, and then just convert all of that into the race, which unfortunately he couldn't quite do on this occasion. Indian Jesus though does look spicy, does want to get past Stein, but has he got the pace in order to do so? He's going to use his ERS. He's going to open the rear wing flap through a little, setting the fastest lap time of this race. Though this back straight not quite long enough for the Alfa Romeo to mount a big enough challenge. PSG Vengeance closing on Silent as well. Those softs might start deteriorating a little bit quicker than these mediums. 10 laps for Vengeance, 11 laps for Kachow. Though Silent, after having some really good pace early on in his stint, really starting to drop off now.
Yeah, that is very surprising. He's actually losing time to Indian Jesus on the medium tyres with more laps done as well. The Vengeance is right on him. Maybe just doesn't have the confidence. Can, you know, from experience, if you're used to doing 20 laps on a particular tyre and you come onto a different one that's faster, you don't know the limit, so you might just be taking it a bit too easy. Indian Jesus might have a go at Stein here down the inside.
Having a little look.
Covers it off.
Trying to, though Stein, yeah, he's going to be looking in his rear wing. He knows how to defend a position. Indian Jesus didn't quite have the run, and it's hard to send one up the inside of Stowe. You really have to be careful when you do it, and often you just wait for when you've got the overwhelming run to the inside and comfortably alongside, and even if you do send it, the outside line has proven to be relatively good. You can keep that momentum, keep the throttle pinned a little bit earlier, and then have the inside prevail. So for Indian Jesus, it was worth the wait, though he has wasted a lot of ERS in the process. Stuart Little, a 3-second time penalty. But yeah, back to your point about Silent, it's weird because you sort of underestimate how much grip you have got. You turn, the car turns with you. You're used to having to go with the understeer for the last stint or so, and then to get those fresh tyres and to know that you've got grip, it can take a couple of laps to get used to, and even then you just sort of want to be careful. Though lap 22 of 26, Yeti Henry leads the way from Stein, Indian Jesus, and it's now from Romeo 3-4 with Stein and P4, though maybe not for long because he's got the charging Merc and the charging Haas for company, and those soft tyres going to be feeling worse for wear very, very soon. Not to the extent of Havana, but certainly not going to be liking the look of them very much. Indian Jesus though on the back of Stein in towards Maggots and Beckett, left, right, in towards the left then of Beckett, in towards Chapel. Needs that good run, needs to get the DRS, needs to use his ERS as well. He's going to try and use it. Is Stein going to use his? No, because he's not got a lot in the battery. Closing at a rate of knots. Here comes the Alfa Romeo to the right hand side. Stein doesn't defend. He does defend very late. To the left goes the Alfa Romeo. Is he going to go for the switcheroo? This is very dodgy defending from Stein, but it worked out from This Is Vengeance to the long way round of the Alfa Romeo. Silent defends very nicely, parking that car exactly where he needs to. And so far, so good on his hunt for P4. 4 laps, though, of this race remaining, and it's flown by.
Yeah, that was a very late move defensively from Stein. I don't know whether Indian Jesus will have any complaints with it, though. But yeah, Stein just put a little bit of ERS on when he realised Indian Jesus was getting so close. Stuart picks up another penalty in his quest to get even fastest lap. And all coming in thick and fast now. Tongo Prop as well. Indian Jesus a bit too far back this time around. Gonna have a look at that train for 5th, 6th and 4th, 5th and 6th, sorry. Vengeance not quite close enough this time.
Not quite. Well, he does definitely want to get through. I mean, he's practically got a full battery in order to use it in his quest to get through. Just under well, double that of Silent, who's on 45 and using it in order to stay in front. Vengeance does want to find a way through, wants to get himself into that top 4. Indian Jesus wants that P2, even if it is only provisional, with that 3-second penalty. As I say, the ball and chain dragging him backwards. Has he got a good run? I mean, we've seen him come back from further, using that ERS, using that DRS. He's going to close. Is he going to close enough down this back straight? Not quite going to be able to, so it's all eyes on Vengeance now. Is he going to push the button? He has. He's using that overtake, closing on Silent. Look at that Mercedes charge after him in towards the left-hand side of Stowe. Has the pace. Indian Jesus tried to defend, but it was all in vain because that Mercedes so slippery in a straight line. Silent just didn't have much to say about it.
Yeah, good move, gets it done. But yeah, very surprising. He's now got Kachao on his tail, so he needs to keep an eye behind. Kachau's got a bit more battery as well, so he would, I imagine, want to get through here on this lap, so we can keep Vengeance in his sights to at least recover to P4. Keep on board with these three. Stuart Little has
in the pit lane
gone into the pits. Yeah, I was worried he'd retired there, but no, he's
joins the list of our 4 retirements now. Stuart Little, Mark of Kenya, Van Rocco and Connect are going to be those that didn't reach the checkered flag. So unfortunately for the McLaren driver, it's going to be another pointless race, though Toss flying the flag very well for that home race in P10. Doing a relatively good job indeed. And well, we've definitely got a couple of battles going on between Stein, Indian Jesus, and then of course look back to Silent and Kachao, all of which are going to want to find their way through and pick their way through and have their own little skirmishes. Eric, another 3-second penalty for the Swede. This is DRS and ERS for Indian Jesus, who again can't close the gap. Is he waiting perhaps for the final lap? Because he knows if he gets through, Stein can just come back the next lap and then it'll be an awkward fight. Maybe if he banks up ERS, goes for it on the final lap, one shot attempt, it's going to be risky, but it might work for him because then Stein doesn't have an opportunity to get him back.
Yeah, possibly. Vengeance with a penalty as well. I was just about to talk about the penalty situation because, yeah, even if Indian Jesus gets through, he's got 3 seconds to fall behind Stein, unless in his mind he thinks he can get that penalty removed. And Vengeance would have been in there for the podium as well if he could just close the gap enough, but yeah, for that 3 seconds, that's podium out the window, I would imagine. Kachao is still behind them both.
Spinner, one of the Aston Martins, I think that's no, Anais is into the pit lane. It's Eric that's gone round through Farm, managed to get himself back onto the track. So for the Astons, yeah, a lot of people not been their day today at all. But Indian Jesus 3/10 on the back of Stein. The penultimate lap of this race, Henry 3.5 seconds in front, finally managing to convert that qualifying pace into race trim. Though we've still got a lap and a half left to go. Anything can go wrong between now and the checkered flag.
Yeah, David, I'm going to look at Via, can't quite get through there, and yeah, Toss, and now we're only 27% battery, so he's used about 60% and he's not made any positions from me. I think he should have just used it to get past David when David was low. Hindsight's a wonderful thing. I don't know whether these guys are going to stick in this order or not. David, without any penalties so far, so he's going to jump up at least 2 places by the looks of things.
Indeed so, and while you were talking about that, the Alpha Tauri and the Alfa Romeo in towards Vale, Indian Jesus managing to finally find a way through onto the final lap. Only a matter of corners left to go. Eric being disqualified from the session, perhaps for too many penalties, perhaps, indeed. And down the Hamilton straight for the final time for these guys. Stein looking to the inside of Abbey, can't quite go for it on this occasion, though Indian Jesus with that penalty. Stein does not want to push too hard and risk the podium place, being the championship leader. You might want to just say to Indian Jesus, I'm going to get P2 anyway, I'm going to let you have it. But we're racing drivers, we want the pride, we want to do it on track. Henry seems to be commanding and going for this victory. DRS open down this back straight for the final time is the AlphaTauri. Close enough, not quite. Vengeance though, his final opportunity to get past Silent. Silent managing to get back through, goes defensive, bit of contact to the Mercedes. This is going to allow Kachao to get himself through to the outside of not 1 but 2 cars through Brooklands, keeps it pinned and gets himself ahead of Silent and up into P4. Vengeance really losing out on that one, and unfortunately for Kachau. He's got that penalty that's going to be dragging him back. He's going to lose the place to Silent, not to Vengeance though, so that was a very critical move indeed to see himself recover to P4, which after a spin as the one he did have, very respectable indeed. Stein and Indian Jesus though, the fight for P2 going to go down to the wire. Henry in towards Stove for the final time, a very commanding and deserving race winner. The Alfa Romeo going defensive to the inside. The AlphaTauri pulls to the left using what little ERS he's got left in the tank, goes around the outside on this final lap to secure P2 on track, and the Alfa Romeo not with much to say about that. Silent trying to go up the inside, but through club for the final time. The Red Bull of Henry from pole to flag, and fastest lap on his way wins the British Grand Prix, with Stein P2, Indian Jesus P3 taking his podium in just his second race for NRL. Kachau after a spin and a potential race victory crossed the line P4 on track, but Eco Silent on penalties takes the position. Vengeance from P6 with Honesy across the line, doing it in style as per usual, losing a tyre along the way for P7. David across the line to take that position, and Toss very respectable P9 for McLaren, back in the points for McLaren. And after a couple of really bad races, Tom across the line, Vert weaning his way through on low fuel mode, I think. Yeah, indeed it was. Domily 5-second penalty for unserved after a 5 place grid penalty, not the movement forward he'd have wanted, and just went for the last couple to cross the line. Well, we definitely had some battles up and down the grid in that one.
Yeah, that was quite extraordinary. Even on the last lap there, I think Viet was in the points, but yeah, lost fuel down the back straight, and yeah, he trickled across the line. No safety cars though, but an awful lot of penalties. It's in disqualification. It's not something I've seen in this league, not that I can think of anyway. So, but yeah, good job from Henry. Controlled it nice and well. Stein, yeah, P2. He might feel that he couldn't have got a lot further than that, but yeah, maybe on another day with a different strategy option, he would have got there. And good recovery to Kachau as well, I think.
For sure, yeah, well, Eco Silent taking the driver of the day, very deservedly so, from the back of the grid up into P4, making it a 3-4 for the Alfa Romeo, though the Red Bull of Henry finally getting himself on the top step after teasing with it for the last couple of weeks. It is the Red Bull then, from pole to flag, takes the British Grand Prix, and nearly the fastest lap with it, though. A nice managed to steal it right at the end of 27.151 though. Stein P2 with Indian Jesus in his second race, taking his maiden podium for NRL. Eco Silent in P4, making it 3-4 for Alfa Romeo, with Kachau rounding off the top 5. Vengeance P6 after a very tight battle with the Haas and the Alfa Romeo. A 7-8 Ferrari with David and Honesy, with Toss in P9. Tom Prof rounds off the top 10 and the points paying positions. Vert in P11 after running out of fuel on the line. Domily from 17th to 12th, a commendable drive, not quite the one he'd have wanted though. Jurdy from the back of the grid to P13. Anais in P14. Havina P15 with the DNFs of Stuart Little, Marcus Kenya, Van Rocco, Connect and Eric being disqualified. Those were the ones that didn't make it to the checkered flag. Overall, a very good race, and for round 9, after missing last week, we definitely come back to a banger.
Yeah, lots of good driving, some questionable driving, but yeah, Henry, he'll be pleased with that. He drove very well. I think a lot of drivers. Good job from Alfa Romeo, 3 and 4. And Silent from 19th. Yeah, that was a good one as well. So. And Toss the Caber, shout out to you. You gained 1 place this time than the last time we raced here. So next year we'll see you in P8 hopefully. But yeah, no, it's very, very entertaining. Good to be a part of that stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's been a pleasure to have you alongside, and of course for Toss, he's going to want to go forward a little bit more than 1 place next time we're in Silverstone. And while we had the season out, I certainly hope we return for season 5. But until next time, for we see you for round number 10, it will certainly be myself, Zach Swin, in the commentary booth. Hopefully we can have Mr. Woot return soon enough. But until next time, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Have a wonderful rest of your evening wherever you are in the world. I've been Zach. I've been had Woot alongside me, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.